everyone. This is Brody with Cleromancy Games. Today we're going to be doing a team build with some of the characters available in the first set of Worn Wanders. A fully wearable game that you can play anywhere. We can look at some of the we can look at some of the team building, or I can go over some of the team building real quick here. As you can see, we've got both Shifty and Wrecker here. They both have, you'll notice under their name, a series of dots or pips with different colors. This is their heraldry, and simply put, this is the cards that they can take when customizing their character. Shifty has 1 blue and 3 black pips underneath of them. That means that they can take up to 1 blue card and up to 3 black cards. Now, that's not the order that they need to be taken in. As you'll see, you can start with a black and then move on and do a blue card and then a black card after that. But you could not include 2 blue cards with his character. Similarly, we look at Wrecker. She's got 2 blue pips and 2 yellow pips. So you would, when building her character, have a combination using those 2 colors. All right, guys. We got, honestly, more than I expected. 3 guys plus Dennis, 3 people plus Dennis. So we're going to get rolling, I think, here, even with a minute left to go. The idea of the stream is to put together, kind of go over some of the deck building rules and put together a team so that we can encounter a party that Dennis builds and possibly that Ryan builds next week. We'll do another stream where we kind of face those off. So our objective today is to learn a little bit more about the characters, talk about the deck building, and build our first party together. So we've already had a few requests. I'm going to try and keep an eye on the chat for you guys. But we've had a few requests. We are looking to showcase Shifty Ray today, I think, in our team. And we've also had a request for Rosie. So I'm happy we're including Rosie because she is my favorite character out of the original 30. So without any further ado, we're going to scroll up here and we're going to start taking a look at some of the characters. I apologize for the choppy nature of my computer and the screen, but here we go. We'll start over here looking at Andy. Andy the Griffin is also part of the Brim and Brang Circus. We have not showcased her yet, or them yet, but we got the triple red pips heraldry with the green. We got Dinobot blocking everyone already. We'll have to change that up. Then we've seen our favorite Bull resident, Chief Dundecorno. He's featured in The Might of the Wild. We've got Crusher Egg here, who you've seen a promo, or if you've backed the early starter, we've got Crusher Egg in his original art form here. We've got Danton Myrtle, who is in the Legacy of Power. We've got Naromi Yalo, who we've seen a picture of, but I don't believe we've seen her name. We've got the Oak King, wielding his rose and thorny club. The Phantom King. And Celio, our favorite 3-armed mushroom man. Keep scrolling over. If anyone wants me to zoom in on any of them or take a closer look, please let me know too. We've got Darcy, Darian One Eye, Father Ishad, Florence Lava, Purifier Miriam. We've seen Ree as well in her alt art pin as an add-on. We've got the Serial Quiller and Shifty Ray. And we'll keep going. Granite the Great, Hagmother Neb, Showcase Callie Oathkeeper, watching over the rules. Teria. We got our in-house cultist, Thraxicor. And Tinker Tomlin, who is Rosie thinks is her boyfriend. He's not too sure on or keen on that fact yet. We'll keep going over. We got Lich Paranoia, Mad Jester Lester, who's also part of the crew, the Brenham and Brang Circus. Mary Shrinks, Macias Noseworth, Bernard the Humble, War Mage Typhrena, Wilhelm Rex, and Wrecker Rosie, which once again is my favorite. So I'm not sure how poor quality we are going to get when zooming all out, but this is our cast for the first set. As you can see, I've pulled aside, we've had, like I said, Shifty Ray as a request and Wrecker Rosie. I'm also interested in possibly showing off Ree as part of our team, but I could be persuaded otherwise if we're taking a different direction. So I'm not sure. I kind of wanted to put it out there for you guys to decide if you have any thoughts on who else should join this party and who we should take down. Dennis. Typhrena, yes. Who we should take down Dennis and Ryan with. Who joins our party with these unscrupulous characters. Thraxicor. Pop him down here as a possibility. We've got a War Mage Typhrena main. Should we look at including her in the team as well? Grab some red. All right. Typhrena has some red. Okay, yeah, we got the Typhrena. We got the one for Andy. Throw a couple down here, and we can. And we've got one for Mary. Okay. This means we could possibly sit Ree out here. We've got a decent amount of black. We've only got one green pip. Or no, we got Mary too. So we've got a couple green we can play with. We've got Typhrena can carry our white, maybe protect some of our other characters. Ray. Why am I blanking on Ray? Oh, Shifty Ray. Yeah, we got Shifty Ray here. Yeah. Shifty Ray. I don't threw me off without the Shifty. How's this team looking? Do you think we can do something with this? We can always pivot too. So we got Shifty. We've got Mary. We've got Typhrena. We've got Rosie, Thraxacor, and Andy the Griffin. And we'll go ahead and sideboard Ree for now. All right. So we're not going to worry so much about the order of the characters right now, but we're going to go ahead. I've got the loot laid out here. We're going to go ahead and start maybe IDing out some cards or some strategies for our characters. So I've heard a little bit of frenzy. We'd like to see some frenzy. Are there any other strategies that you guys have been thinking of that you might want to showcase here? Maybe I can put these side by side so I can zoom in on them. We don't have a lot of green, but we could put in a few men's. I'm also a big fan of green's ability to bring some stun to the table. Okay, we're talking some offensive poison and defensive. We do have some traps. Okay, we've got some things rolling. All right, let's start. We got a request for offensive poison bait with a defensive trap. Okay, so that's going to be a black. So we're looking for Shifty and Thraxacor here. I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out here and pull out some black cards, and we'll see how this let's see, shows up. So we've got some of the base cards. We've got a defensive poison here, which is not something that we were maybe talking about. We've got the evasive keyword. This is probably your more standard offensive poison. But we could also go in hard, sacrifice a lot of the stats, and we could maybe showcase some double poison here. Though if we are baiting the attack more, we maybe want to lean into just the offensive poison. So Dennis is less scared to attack into it. We're all hoping that he forgets about our strategy by the time next week rolls around. We've got some double dipping on the evasive. And our last level 1 card that we could showcase is a Frenzy Poison. Now, Frenzy is going to let us get off multiple attacks here. So this is a pretty good card. This is the rare card of the set. Blindfold. So we've got a couple options here for our offensive trap or our bait, if we'd rather a poison bait. And then I can cycle through here a couple. Let's find some of our defensive traps, because we've got a few options. Sorry, I'm just gonna clean this up. We'll put those and worry about those. So we've got some poison, and we've got some traps. Now, these traps are on the defense, so remember that we will, if we are attacked into and this card is revealed and made active, then we'll be able to swing these ones. So we can go for a trap with a decent amount of power. We can double dip on the poison, or we can pivot into an evasive strategy here. Um, Offensive trap under poison on Thraxicor. Offensive trap under poison on Thraxicor. Oh, okay. So we're thinking like the double poison, try and disincentivize them to attack into us, but also threaten the poison attack into the yellow, a yellow offensive trap. Is that kind of what we're thinking here? And then are we just double dipping on the poison strategy with Shifty Ray? And we can maybe do the defensive trap here. We give him some frenzy. Really threaten a double kill or a double wound out the gate with the frenzy and the poison. And then we can do the defensive trap. Now, I think that I am partial to the evasive trap personally. It allows us to get better trades when our opponent's attacking into us. The poison's nice because we could get another blow here. But evasive kind of trades better when they're attacking into us. So maybe that'll disincentivize them taking out Shifty Ray completely. Or we could kind of go all in on the poison and maybe we have a lower loot on Shifty. So I'll leave these two here. I'll let you guys kind of stew on that for a second. We got one for the evasive, so that's nice. All right. So next we're looking, I'll pull out some yellow cards here, and we can revisit the level 3 cards in a little bit, but we're going to shift some of these aside. You can kind of get your eye on some of these yellow cards here. We'll trying to lay them out in a way that you can kind of look at them. Frenzy ranged. So, but level 2 is kind of what we're looking at if we're going to keep building out Thraxicor here. So we're kind of disincentivizing the attack into Thraxicor because of the defensive poison. But really what we're baiting is an offensive trap. So let's kind of set the other ones aside. So we've got 3 options here. Let's set these up. So we've got, we've got just a generic high power 15-6 trap. Yeah, got some love for Thraxicor here. All right, we've got a little bit less power here in the trap, but this could prevent a pierce strategy from ripping through us, though we won't be able to cancel it if they pierce through this poison. Or we could go a little bit tankier, but we could try and get a couple of hits off with this trap, and it's a little less susceptible to being pierced immediately. This also, if we're double down, I like this because what the frenzy allows us to do is, I think, really open the board a lot, especially if this is going to be our first, if this is our opening attack and we come in and take someone out and then we're frenzying and getting a couple more attacks off. All right, so we're going all in. We're saying hey, you're not going to hit into Thraxicor hopefully first, or maybe we get the first attack and we just blow up one of the characters, or maybe we can diversify a little bit with that. Okay, love it. Okay, so I think I've seen some votes for the evasive as well. So we've got 1 and 2 on Shifty, and we've got level 1, level 2 for Thraxicor. Yeah. Yeah, we got one. You're only going to be able to, get 1 bonus attack per character, but, there's some crazy things that can happen later down the line. All right, and I saw some votes for guard on Typhrena here. Now, I will say we've got one. We are showcasing. Here, let me set her up. We're showcasing 1 white pip in our heraldry here so far. So, if we guard right out the gate, that could be a good strategy. Or we could guard later on. But it's not necessarily a bad thing that we only have 1 guard. We just gotta think of how we best want to utilize her. And then we need to decide, is Wrecker also going to start out? Because Wrecker by nature is very interesting. She's typically starts out a powerhouse and then turns very defensive, or disincentivizes the first initial attacks, but then opens up into a very powerful hitting character. So we kind of decide the direction here, and then we can also kind of take a direction for Mary and Andy. I will say so far with this team, because we've doubled down on the poison, we do need to watch out for potentially cancel strats. And yeah, Pierce is still a concern, I think, over here. So maybe we do want to guard right out the bat. And let's pull out the white cards over here as well. We'll start shifting through. It looks like we got some pips issues on this one, but that is level 1 card. So here is our standard guard, the 6/10. We've got some defensive mend in white that we could use. We got offensive combo, but I think we're looking at potentially taking off, like, we'd want to be careful of, for example, this offensive cancel here. One of these 2 options, potentially. The mend is an interesting option because, we could try and get them to attack into Thraxicor, hoping that we'll guard it and they can take out something else, potentially, and we can choose to mend him later, maybe. I'm not sure on that, though. But those are some of our options for early mend. Is very fun with traps, yes. This is the defensive mend, so it would probably trigger when they're attacking us. So we'd want to pair it next to a defensive trap if we were trying to kind of trigger that combo. It is an interesting thought, though. Let's see. I got a defensive Rosie, and then yellow, open her up into yellow. So I'm going to kind of place these up as options near Typhrena. We're just going to clear up some space. We can pull these back out in a minute. And let's look at some of the blue that we can open up with. 611 is definitely viable for just some initial strategies. We can open up with an offensive cancel of our own, which is an interesting an interesting thing. We can make Wrecker kind of beefy by potentially pairing her maybe next to, some bigger health, although we're not starting off with a lot of health here. Or we can do some defensive outwit, or even. Oh, there's some good ones. Okay. Oh, we got a lot of options. Okay, we can do some outwit strats. We can attempt some outwit strats. Or we can kind of go a defensive evasive with the offensive cancel. So I think we actually got quite a few options here. Yeah, we do have some level 2 offensive cancel. Oh, so we're from a good player. You're gonna have me do some outwit strats, and Dennis is gonna attack into me and completely outplay me with his things. It's gonna embarrass me here. Okay, yeah, let's stick the defensive men combo. Seems really cool under the guard. Could let us or give us some opportunities to do it. Now this is gonna be difficult because we're not often gonna get attacked into without um, without them taking the kill. So this one I think is a tricky one to use. I'm happy to throw it in there. I do like the idea of throwing Rosie kind of as a deterrent here with the outlet and trying to. Will there be any reason to play a card with no ability? Yes. So depending on what you're trying to accomplish, I've found that when you are using combo, often the raw stats from a card with no ability comes in handy over, because for example, you wouldn't want to combo health with this one card, right? If you put too many combo together, the power of your team is going to decrease significantly, right? Whereas if you're looking to combo health and you have your 611 out here, that is going to afford you the opportunity to add a lot more stats to it. So this is, I think this is kind of the direction that we've been looking, right? We can give some flexibility with the mend outwit as well, which it's a lower defense, but I think that's fine. So the question then becomes, right? Which are we swinging hard offensive? Are we swinging in? I heard some offensive cancel here, which could be in Typhrena or Rosie here. Well, if there's sorry for any confusion. If there's anything, I guess I promised an explanation of the pin building, and I don't think I actually gave it. I think we just jumped into building. Compliment would be better right on the bottom to deny them finishing off that card. Possibly, yeah. We can double down on outwit. There is a little splash of guard in blue that we could take advantage of in Rosie or Typhrena. We might actually be able to double down. I'm not opposed to this. We'll show some more outwit. Outwit ranged is also great. Yeah, that's my fault. Yeah, I can't see. I don't think no. They took off, but I'll have to remember that for next time. But yeah, so we've got a couple of options here. I think I'm going to set these aside because I do think some offensive cancel is going to be pretty helpful. I could see us also trying to high roll with the outlet ranged, which is really fun because if you can guess the card, then you can outwit them before they attack into you. If that's the case, we could look at maybe putting the higher value loot under rec here. All right, because we will. I mean, barring we're trying to aggro them down, we might want to start thinking who's going to be carrying the higher value loot. Mary might be a good candidate for that. Yeah. All right, we are gonna need to move along though. If we're half an hour in, we've got I don't know. We're moving along. We got to see the characters. All right. So here's what I'm thinking from here on out. Yeah, let's try and roll a very defensive Mary. And I wanted to do Spree because I wanted to showcase a little bit of defensive stun, but well, that's right. Now, I think we're gonna pull this right here. The reason this is a good defensive card. Oh, and we got some offensive men on the Griffin. Okay, perfect. All right, so I think we should do some defensive stun here with Mary, because if they're attacked into, we can reduce the power of someone and potentially even capitalize with our multiple poisons. And then this is a character as well that doesn't necessarily need to be guarded. The keyword itself should dissuade Dennis Orion from attacking into us. And then that leaves a couple of the higher level purple cards. So we'll just kind of peruse through slowly some of these purple cards till we get to the level 2. Okay, so we've got level 2. I think there are a few options. If we want to gamble or try and get rid of any cancel that might be brought, the range is very good. We can do some more offensive outwit to try and really outplay that way. We can go down an evasive route. We can do. There's some offensive cancel on our own, though that's not a high hitter, and I think we want to be a little bit more defensive than offensive with the thing. This is also not a bad option, though. We might want to diversify into potentially other keywords. We've got a trap as well into an outwit, which could actually be really fun in Mary. Because we could trap, outwit, not take the blow on. Draw off more keywords. Okay, so we've got outwit and trap. Let's throw down the range then. And then since we've done our green and we've done our single green, so we're locked into the second card being purple, or the third card being purple. So we've got another ranged, we've got more outwit. We've got this powerhouse of a card, which I really like it. We can showcase the evasive. We are going to get wrecked by the cancel, but I really like this one. As kind of both a defensive and offensive option. Might as well get every ability. We're getting there. We've got quite a few. If we get let's see, if we get mend, well, we might get mend with Typhrena. If we get mend with Andy, we'll be there as well. And we don't have any cancel ourselves, so that is something we're thinking about including it here. Just don't play with anything. Yes, that's right. That's exactly it. Just don't play into your bad matchups, and you'll win every time. All right. Okay, let's look at Andy here. I think we've talked about some offensive mend. I think also it might be nice to just have some additional raw power to break through some more potentially, cancel or other cards. So we could showcase Wild. Wild makes sense for Andy too, very thematic. We've got some offensive stun, which can prevent some counterattacking. Here's the offensive mend out the gate. It's got a decent attack. And one of our favorites is this nice Pierce plus 10 power. So it pierces for 14 on the offense. Wild does counter cancel, yes. Yes, because you would get the attack redirected, but cancel prevents that from happening. So yes. We could also throw down and double down. If for some reason we are attacked and survive, we could get the frenzy attack. So I'm kind of keen on just going all in on the Wild. So we can start out. Here's our last card. So we've got some mend, we've got Wild, and we could come out swinging. These are kind of my votes for starting out with Andy. Potentially one of these. Let me scroll up a little bit. While we're looking at those, let's kind of look into, we've got the mend level 2 as well. So we could kind of double down on the mend. Like the Wild at the beginning, we've got a powerhouse of a stun. We can carry on with the Pierce. Now we've got this nice Wild cancel here. That could open up a little bit later into the game, just in case there's some later cancel. It also potentially prevents some Pierce on our end from going through. Or we could bring a trap with the mend. We like the offensive mend level 2. Okay. Sounds good. So sounds like we're opening Wild, going into a mend to potentially allow us to reuse some of our characters. And then the question is, do we stay red, or do we pivot into green with Andy with our last color pip here? So we can go ahead and we can, once again, we've got some more mend. We've got a stun wild. We got this butte here. 20 power, offensive health combo. Very fragile on the defense. Very powerful. Moving in. Could be, I think we could go more green. I'll cycle through some of these. We've got some offensive ranged here on the level 3. We've got a big pierce. We've got a combo health and the frenzy. So, a couple of good ones. But yeah, let's take a look and see what level 3 green will provide for us. All right. We can, we can make Andy very thematic. Oh, we got one for the range. Let's take a look. We got some offensive cancel of our own that we could include through green with some stun. That could be nice. We've got a mend, a defensive mend and stun. Depending on our strategy, that could be something. We've got some offensive mend. We've got combo health, pierce on the defense, and then some frenzy, defensive stun. I'm kind of into keeping Andy thematic as a wild griffin. Of course, trained for the circus, but when unleashed in the context of our party, just kind of going wild. Would give us some defensive pierce too, and showcase some big stats. Triple wild is funny. I do like the mend include in the middle. I think that's good. I think that leaves Andy in a good place. And I think that lets us kind of find the direction, because that gives us a lot of power into it, and the wild at the end is nice too. If we knock down a few of their characters, they might not be able to yes. They might not be able to redirect the attack if we plan it accordingly. We'll see how the game goes, but if there's not an adjacent character to redirect the wild attack, then we might be able to get work in some good hits there too. Okay, so we got Mary. Mary's going to be carrying some of our valuable loot. We've got Andy, who is taking on the role of anti-cancel and just kind of straight power, a little bit of healing in here. Thraxicor, we are dissuading into hopefully a double frenzy attack. And then Shifty Ray is our bait, right? Rosie's looking pretty defensive as well, which I think is good. So I think there's just a few other things to decide here. Namely, are we going to have Typhrena guard multiple times? Like this? If anything, the guard is nice, and the outwit, even if we don't hit the outwit, it gives us some information into an attack, which I think is pretty good. Allows us to keep up the guard on our squishier characters. It does not allow for the cancel, so maybe we let Rosie take that. It's just opportunity cost, right? So we'll put these aside, and we'll have to let you guys experiment with them later on when we get the cards. But that leaves a yellow for Rosie, a yellow or black for Thraxacor. We've got blue or black for Shifty. We've got a blue or red for Typhrena. So we could more yellow. Okay. Well, we're definitely let's we know Rosie's going to be yellow. So let's pull out the level 3 yellow, and then we can see if we want to keep Thraxacor in yellow as well. So here are some of our options. They all yellow's a lot of fun. It's got some powerhouse. We can't. Pierce range is very nasty at the 18 power. Yes. So it's a unpleasant surprise when that one comes up. It wouldn't be a bad thing to hide behind Rosie because we're less scared of that getting pierced through, right? That's a 17 pierce. The 12 is going to absorb a lot of that, so that might be a nice finisher. It might allow us to pull off a couple of wounds at the end, steal a win if we're looking thin. Let's see. Do we like any of these for Thraxacor as well? Because each character gets one bonus attack. It's interesting because the first trap's not going to. I don't know that we want any more trap under Thraxacor. But we could keep the cultist kind of on theme for a double attacking here and keep him with Frenzy. That way we get the poison into the trap, and then if they don't answer Thraxacor, then we can get the double Frenzy, and then if they do answer Thraxacor, then we get the double poison. And that seems like a good candidate for one loot to me. Let's see here. I think this is looking pretty good. We've got some good offensive. We've got one good defensive with War Mage, and then I think Rosie might dissuade some early attacks. So I think that's pretty good. So I think here's kind of level 3 blue. Yeah, let's pull out some level 3 blue because I'm kind of thinking too for Shifty. I think maybe Shifty, since he's our early bait, maybe carries the last our level 3 or our 3 loot. And all right, so we got, here's our options. We'll put them closer to the center of the screen here. All right, we've got this Butte, which could be really good with the Wild. This could be really good next to Andy because this swings in at 18. And if we side this with even possibly, I mean, we got a lot of options here. We got a lot of good options, I think, for this 120. We got a lot of high attacks that we should be able to combo with. And the 20 health could be really good. Yeah, we got the combos. Okay, so let's throw this combo here on Shifty. And then sounds like we want to maybe keep Typhrena defensive. This is our last card. So we've got a few options. We'll zoom out and kind of look at the team again. We've got, I think, so far candidates are probably Mary and Shifty to carry the. Oh, outlet ranged is good. I do like that one. We could go pretty defensive here, and try and outplay for the 3 loot. So maybe we could bait some. I mean, we're basically Shifty Ray is our bait, right? Mary, if we can take care of the cancel, I think is going to be very hard to get through. Depending on what they bring, and I think we just bait with Shifty. I think this looks pretty good. Let's pull up the loot now. How are we looking on time? 10 minutes? Look at this. This is great. All right. So this is what we got. This is our team so far. It's probably pretty blurry, so I'll go ahead and try and slowly zoom in here. We've got War Mage Typhrena. We're going to open with a guard strat, potentially with the opportunity to mend. So stun. So when the character, after it targets something or is targeted, depending on where it is, offensive or defensive, the opposing character is stunned, leaving it with 0 attack or 0 power and no abilities for a turn. All right. So what that looks like is when it's defensive and a character attacks into you, on your attacking turn, that character is going to be stunned, leaving it with 0 power, no abilities. On the offensive, it allows you to potentially take out a character for your opponent's attacking turn, right? Because they're going to have 0 power and no abilities for their attack. So then there's always, of course, fun combos that you can do with stun into that. Stun into like trap is very fun. So you could open perhaps the red offensive stun into a yellow offensive trap, right? Knocking out a character, leaving its whatever is underneath, sacrificing your red level 1 into the trap level 2, and then you could follow up with the trap attack into that same character, and their level 2 card would have 0 power and no abilities. So it's a cheeky way to do that. So all right, so we've got Typhrena here. We're opening the guard. We're keeping the guard, but adding some outwit, potentially dissuading an attack into Typhrena. And then we are gambling with the outwit ranged. Yeah, so I think this is, a great candidate. And so, War Mage and Shifty might be good middle row targets. The interesting thing with deck building, so a little bit of additional strategy here is because your opponent has the ability, if they're going second, to take out the top 2 or bottom 2 characters, your middle row is always going to be in the fight. So whoever is in the middle is going to be showcased each time, which if that ends up being Shifty and Typhrena, I'm not opposed, though the one Nambo is the low power on Typhrena comboing with Shifty. So I might be hesitant to do that. Carrying through, Mary here is opening the stun, the defensive stun, into a defensive range, into an offensive, evasive, defensive ranged. Okay. All right, we got some things. Shifty is our bait, right? He's got the frenzy poison opening up, which, if it's not answered, is going to do a number to the enemy party. then we have the evasive trap behind, and when that's taken out, we've got the combo, the high defense combo. All right. I will get together with Dennis and Ryan, and we will coordinate when the stream next week will take place. It will be next week at some point, but we will try and follow up with details as soon as we can. But thank you for tuning in here. All right. Rosie, we've got a defensive mend outwit. We've got the offensive cancel to take care of anything tricky. And then we're wrapping up with a massive pierce ranged to potentially close out some of those games. Thraxicor has got our double poison into the trap, into the frenzy poison, which I think is going to be pretty powerful. And then Andy's just taken wild the whole way through. We got the wild, the mend, and the wild pierce. So she's bringing the stats. We've got a suggestion. Oops, sorry, jumping around. So let me place the loot real quick. We've got the 3 loot here. We're gonna have the 3 loot on Mary, I think. Probably 2 on Shifty because he is defensive, and then another 2 on Andy, and then Thraxicor and Rosie potentially with the 1. Though I could see Rosie carrying more loot. But we've got a suggestion to have Mary on the top. Then Andy, next to Andy over here. Then we've got Typhrena carrying the middle with Shifty. And then Rosie and Thraxicor. Now, I might switch Rosie and Thraxicor around, like so. Which does mean we're throwing quite a bit of loot up in the top, but I actually don't think that's necessarily a bad strategy here, because if we're dissuading our opponent, into carrying both of these characters down here. Yeah, I don't know. We could put the 3 loot behind Rosie. Position will matter for things such as combo here. This combo power on the offense is going to matter when we're attacking. So if we're next to Andy, and even if Andy hasn't been taken out, we'll hit for 13, 15, and 18 power. Switching Griffin and like so. What are we thinking? How are we thinking? We got some combo. We got the double combo here. We are guarding Mary and Thraxicor and 50, which we're not too worried about Mary. Yeah, I think this is looking pretty good. You know, obviously we'd want to play it a few times and see, and it's all going to be meta dependent, but I think this is pretty good, and it about takes us to the end of our time. So I think we'll wrap up here. I'll save this, and this is the team that we're going to showcase next week. I like it. I think we can do some fun things with this. we got some little combos going. And what I'm going to do, I'll save this. I'm also going to grab an extra character. So we're probably going to do a best of 3. And in that best of 3, we'll have an extra character off on the side, and we'll be able to sub them in if something's not working, if we start losing. And yeah, well, I'll throw in a couple cards for that. We'll get that together. We'll get the information out, and yeah, I guess we'll see everyone in the chat, of course, but we'll look forward to doing another stream next week, and we'll whoop Dennis and Ryan with this, even though they're looking at it right now. Possibly they're in the chat, so we'll still whoop them, even though they know their strategy. So yeah, thanks for showing up, and we'll call it good.